When you look at this polynomial and you think about factoring it, your first thought may be, oh my God, I'm going to have to factor this by grouping. I'm going to have to do 25 times 9, which is a huge number, and then find the factors for that number and which factors add to negative 30. That's a big thing. But just like there are perfect square binomials, difference of perfect square binomials, there are also something called perfect square trinomials, and this is one of them. And the thing that clues you in to check and see, is it a perfect square trinomial, is if the first term and the last term are perfect squares. And in this case, they are. The square root of 25x squared is 5x, and the square root of 9 is 3. So first term and last term are perfect squares. This alone does not mean it is a perfect square trinomial, because we have to check and see, do these two terms also work with the middle term, which in this case is negative 30. And the way that we check and see, does it work with the middle term, is if we take 5x and we multiply by 3 and then multiply by 2, do we get 30x? And the answer is yes. 5x times 3 times 2 gives us 30x. Now you may be thinking, well, yes, that's 30x, but don't we need negative 30x? We do. We need negative 30x, but we can solve that problem just by just making this 3 a negative. It turns out the square root of 9 is 3, but the square root of 9 is also negative 3, because negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. So we can do it that way as well and have negative 3. So this is a perfect square trinomial, and the factor would be 5x minus 3 and 5x minus 3. And so the reason this works is if we were to multiply this, we do first 5x times 5x, which is where the 25x squared comes from. And then we do 5x times negative 3, and then we do negative 3 times 5x, and that's where this 5x times negative 3 times 2 comes from. We do 5x times negative 3, and then we do negative 3 times 5x. So we have 5x times negative 3 twice. 5x times negative 3 times 2. That's where the negative 30x comes from. And then we have negative 3 times negative 3, which is positive 9. So the answer here is this 5x minus 3 times 5x minus 3, but there's actually a fancier way we can write this. Since it's something multiplied by itself, we can be professional mathematicians here and write this as 5x minus 3 squared, which is how we're actually going to write the answer. 5x minus 3 squared means 5x minus 3 times 5x minus 3. So this is a perfect square trinomial. It's not quite as straightforward as a perfect square binomial, because we still check and make sure the first and last terms are perfect squares, but then we also have to make sure it works with the middle term. Sometimes it works with the middle term and sometimes it doesn't. So we do have to do a tiny little bit of math and make sure that when we multiply the first and last terms and double it, we still get that middle term. But as long as we do, there's a real quick, easy way to go straight to the two factors.